Tonight, pending snowstorm. The entire region getting ready for a messy commute and the cleanup that follows. Ottawa taxpayers could soon be the owners of a landfill. City Council moving ahead with plans to buy one in the East End. Plus, going through winter without windows. One Ontario woman goes public after running out of patience. Good evening. You're expected to wake up to a winter wonderland tomorrow morning. The entire region is under a snowfall warning, with Environment Canada saying up to 25 centimetres will fall by the time the storm wraps up tomorrow. This is a live look at the Queensway right now. We are still in the early stages of this warning, with a big bulk of the snow arriving while most of us are asleep.
The morning commute will be rather difficult and treacherous perhaps in some areas. I mean, this kind of snow is fluffy snow, so it can be picked up easily and deposited several times before it begins to settle down.
Sidewalks will also be slippery for those who get around on foot, and parents should tune in to 580 CFRA or Your Morning Ottawa about the potential for school bus cancellations. And here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Skycam. Right now, the temperature is -6. It's also very windy at the moment. And Jackie Paris has more on what else you can expect.
Well, the question on a lot of people's minds, Stefan, is when is the snow coming and how much are we getting? Well, a weather warning is in effect, so a snowfall warning anticipating 15 to 25 centimetres. This is in place until tomorrow evening. And when will that start? Well, closer to the midnight hour, we're going to see most of the light flurries moving through along the seaway, so close to the water. So Kingston as well as Brockville. Ottawa, not so much, but we could start to see that when you wake up early on 7 a.m. And then it's really going to move through around the 3 o'clock hour. This is the best chance, or the greatest chance, that we could have some heavier rain moving through. But right now, though, there could be periods of light snow, -10 for the overnight. So yeah, it's a lot colder and a lot windier. Tomorrow, a daytime high of just -8. We'll have details of this and a long-term forecast in just a bit.
Thanks, Jackie. And a little later, we share the story of one Ontario woman who has been waiting for windows to be replaced since late last year. She worries what this storm could mean for her unit. Turning from a dumping of snow to Ottawa taxpayers owning a dump, the city is moving ahead with plans to buy a landfill in the East End. CTV's Leah LaRocque has the latest.
Is this piece of land a solution to Ottawa's garbage problem? The city thinks so.
Mayor Sutcliffe.
Yes.
Council voting 20-5 to move forward with buying the 192-hectare planned private landfill. It's owned by Taggart Miller Environmental Services.
This site is going to be a landfill. The question before us was simply whether it would be owned by the people of Ottawa, where the City of Ottawa would be able to take input from the community.
The mayor insists this is in the city's best interest. But until the sale is final, Council is bound by a confidentiality agreement.
Senior city staff will now negotiate an agreement to buy the landfill, and they will report back to councillors once the deal is finished. That is expected to happen by the end of March. But because of that confidentiality agreement, we won't know the price tag or any other details until the deal is finalized.
Councillor Skalski.
No.
The councillor whose ward includes the landfill voted no.
I didn't think this process was fair for residents. I have concerns with the acquisition itself. Whoever owns it is going to have to ensure the protection of groundwater, the protection of the environment.
In Carlsbad Springs, not far from the site, residents don't like the secrecy.
What price? What's tied to the price? We have nothing. Nothing, like it's in a void. Yeah. So that's the part that gets us a little worked up.
Truck traffic will be a big thing because when the study was done 10 years ago, they anticipated around 800 trucks per day.
No matter what the city pays for this landfill, there are still some big decisions ahead.
Incineration is not a permitted use on the site right now. That doesn't mean that it would preclude us from going through another environmental assessment process in the future. That's also tied to Council's directions in 2027.
Leah LaRocque, CTV News.
In the meantime, concerns are being raised about the city's aging infrastructure after a water main burst not once but twice on the same day. The pipe failed just hours after repairs, jamming up traffic along the busy east-west corridor of Baseline near Fisher. And even though it's fixed now, overnight lows have some people worried. CTV's Kimberly Fowler tells us why.
Emergency repairs disrupted the commute along Baseline Road for a second day in a row.
When they flushed that line as part of a final process, the water main ruptured again.
A broken water main just east of Fisher Avenue after pipes broke underground twice.
It does call into question the age of water infrastructure. At what point do we renew it before we have these types of breaks?
On Tuesday afternoon, city crews contained the water and returned Wednesday morning to complete repairs. Water main breaks are usually the result of changes in temperature. When water freezes in a pipe, it expands inside and can cause the pipe to burst. Other factors could include aging pipes, soil shifting or corrosion, and accidental damage from construction. This water main break on Baseline Road is the latest infrastructure issue here in Ottawa. During the 2 weeks over the Christmas holidays, the city responded to over 30 reports of leaks or broken water mains. The water main is made of cast iron and was installed in 1957. The city says cast iron typically doesn't react well to sudden pressure drops or sudden pressure increases when valves are not opened slowly, and that could have been what led it to break for the second time. The city also says the overall water main system is in good condition and regularly monitored for problems like this. Kimberly Fowler, CTV News.
More than a dozen Ottawa organizations made their pitch for funding today in the lead up to the province's next budget. Among the submissions, a call from the Queensway Carleton Hospital. The Queensway Carleton is requesting $15 million over 3 years for the establishment of a new fund to implement AI healthcare tools. And the pitch is for other institutions across Eastern Ontario to tap into the funding as well. For example, according to the submission from QCH, some of the proposed tech is already in use at Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto. And they say since then, time to see a doctor at that hospital has dropped by 55%, freeing up more than 700 hours of emergency room capacity.
So using artificial intelligence, they're able to take numbers that are recorded from nursing staff, like your blood pressure, the rate that you're breathing, your pulse rate, and predict using predictive analysis which changes may well represent a sinister turn of events for that patient.
The Queensway Carleton is also hoping to see funding set aside in Ontario's next budget to expand overall capacity. The emergency department was built to see 63,000 patients per year, but right now the hospital is seeing upwards of 83,000.
2-on-1 for the Senators. Brady Tkachuk keeps shoots. Scores!
Take a look at this, a huge win for the Sens tonight, and that was Captain Brady Tkachuk's 200th career goal. They took a bite out of the Big Apple's New York Rangers, finishing the game with a final score of 8-4.
It's just really nerve-wracking. I mean, for 84 years old to go through what I'm going through.
Coming up, why is there an Ontario senior enduring winter without windows? We'll have that story and the full weather forecast in just a few minutes.
You're watching CTV News at 11:30 with Stefan Keys.
We're keeping a close eye on the roads tonight as the snowstorm approaches the region. This is another live look at the Queensway this hour. Drivers are being reminded that road conditions can change rapidly, but things are fairly good right now. And here's Jackie with a look at the full forecast.
We are anticipating and bracing for this snowstorm that is moving through really most of Eastern Ontario. So here, a snowfall warning in effect, 15 to 25 centimeters. Here in Ottawa, when can we anticipate that? Well, the snow is going to start moving through early into the overnight, and then at 7 a.m., we could see the heavier snowfall moving through. The cold weather, that was what we're anticipating. You want to bundle up. We've had mild temperatures for the last week or so. -18 is what it's going to feel like when you factor in the wind chill. It's going to warm up to about -8 around the noon hour, but it's going to feel closer to about -15, -16s. But the rainfall really moving through about a centimetre each hour, and that's what we are really keeping an eye out for. Tonight's lows across eastern Ontario, -10 in Ottawa. You can see that cold Arctic air moving through the northwest, -18 in Pembroke as well as Petawawa. But Kingston, Brockville, Cornwall, temperatures still sitting pretty warm for these overnight, about -5, -10. Tomorrow's daytime highs, though, again, we are back to those colder conditions. A -5 in Cornwall, -8 in Brockville, -7 in Kingston, and in the valleys, temperatures sitting around -12. So not only are we getting that heavy snow, it's going to be very cold for our temperatures. A closer look at our 7-day forecast. So 10 to 15 is the additional for Thursday in total when all is said and done. Friday, periods of snow could continue, -5 the daytime high. We'll start averaging things out closer to the freezing mark by Saturday, but the flurries sticking around well into early next week.
Well, it's a snow and deep cold blankets eastern and southern Ontario tonight. One senior in this province will be enduring the elements without windows. They were removed late last year, and she has been waiting weeks for Toronto Community Housing to install new ones. Here's CTV's Alison Hurst.
This is where I had just closed it all in at the bottom here.
The windows in Joyce Taylor's apartment were taken out about a month and a half ago. She's done the additional taping because there was a gap, and while she was at her son's for Christmas, squirrels got into her apartment.
Well, I thought something broke in my house. That's how bad it was. Everything was all over.
It took 3 days for her to trap the rodent, trying first with sticky pads that just ripped off some of the animal's fur, until finally it was caught in a cage.
It's just really nerve-wracking. I mean, for 84 years old to go through what I'm going through.
She has 4 heaters going at all times to keep it warm.
I have a big blanket. I have to have over 6 blankets over my bed because the heater shut off during the night.
But she finds the dry, recirculating air makes it hard to breathe, and she worries about a fire.
I'm on top floor. I'm handicapped. I can't go down the stairs. If there's no elevator, I can't get out, no.
Since the windows came out, there's been wood where her living room windows would be, and both wood and plexiglass instead of bedroom windows. She says they were removed on November 28th.
They said it was going to put it in on Tuesday. Then they came and said we can't put it on Tuesday. Then they put it up again.
The building is owned by the Toronto Community Housing Corporation and has been undergoing a significant retrofit to replace windows and repair structural issues. In a statement, a spokesperson says this resident's experience is unacceptable, and we apologize to Mrs. Taylor for the disruption and discomfort that she's experienced. They go on to say the standard process for window replacements is to remove and replace windows in a single day, providing temporary accommodations for the resident while the work is completed. They say this time a supply issue resulted in new windows not being ready for installation, and a temporary window covering was installed. The supply issue should have been resolved immediately, and this was not our normal process.
It's opening at the top here. It's all starting to open. That's where I get the cold air.
For Taylor, the question remains, why take the windows out in winter? And
why you would take them out if you know you don't have this stuff forward.
Taylor says she was told the new windows should be in by the end of this month. Alison Hurst, CTV News.
That's exceptionally disappointing for me and very worrisome about insurance being able to dictate treatment for kids.
Coming up, calling out the government's coverage plan after a claim fails to go through. A public service worker in Ottawa is calling out the federal government's insurance plan after her daughter, who is chronically ill and battling cancer, was denied coverage. CTV's Katie Griffin has their story.
8-year-old Lily Jewett is full of joy.
She is a happy kid. She loves Taylor Swift. She loves playing with her friends. She does Special Olympics.
She's also always hungry.
You want more popcorn? All day with Lily, she tells me that she's hungry and she wants food. It's constant. It never ends.
Lily was diagnosed with a brain tumor when she was 4 months old. She's been through a number of surgeries with many complications, including a stroke, seizures, and vision loss. The most recent
ended up significantly damaging the part of her brain that controls her hormones, her appetite, her metabolism, her sleep.
It means that for her age and height, Lily is considered obese.
She definitely has the capacity to learn to walk, but the weight is a huge hindrance on that.
So a doctor prescribed weight loss drug Wegovy, but Mom Julie's health insurance plan with the federal government won't cover the cost because the drug isn't approved for use in kids under 12.
That's exceptionally disappointing for me and very worrisome about insurance being able to dictate treatment for kids.
In a statement, the Treasury Board of Canada Secretariat says the plan does not cover expenses for prescription drugs to treat a condition not recommended by the manufacturer, known as off-label use, or that do not meet Health Canada approved indications, even if a prescription from a medical health practitioner is submitted. A spokesperson with insurance company Canada Life says while it empathizes with all those who are facing difficult health challenges, the Government of Canada determines what is covered under their plan, and Canada Life must administer claims in compliance with it. Jewett has appealed the decision twice. 2 months ago, she wrote to the president of the Treasury Board Secretariat, but hasn't heard back. She says she's hoping the decision will be overturned using logic and compassion. Pediatricians say it's not unusual for a child to be prescribed a drug off-label.
Somewhere between, we estimate, 50 and 80% of pediatric prescribing is off-label, but it doesn't mean it's off evidence. It doesn't mean that it's experimental.
For now, the Jewett family waits for another appeal decision.
It's not lost on us that there's not a high chance that she's going to outlive Chef and I, and that we just want to give her the best quality of life that we can. And so waiting 4 years to see if we can get coverage and to see if this is going to help her feels exceptionally wrong and unfair.
Katie Griffin, CTV News.
In the first two parts of a medical tourism series, we've shared warnings about the risks of going under the knife overseas. But if you do get a procedure done abroad, who is held financially responsible when something goes wrong? Tonight, CTV's Pauline Chan tackles that question.
When Nicole Grigorov set out for her mummy makeover in Costa Rica last fall, she thought she had insurance. But when she developed sepsis and nearly died, she found out she wasn't covered.
Actually, I have two forms of insurance, which I thought were suffice. I have the travel medical insurance, and I also have insurance on one of my credit cards. And one of them is critical illness and disability, so I'm arguing with them right now.
I get calls from time to time from people asking that exact question, and I explain to them absolutely not. And other scenarios too, like heart or cancer or anything out of the country that you are going to, knowingly that there will be a surgery or a treatment, is absolutely not covered by an insurance company.
The Ontario Health Ministry says some forms of cosmetic surgery are actually covered by OHIP, saying OHIP would provide payment for out-of-country cosmetic procedures should they meet specific requirements as outlined in Regulation 522 of the Health Insurance Act, adding, under which surgery for alteration of appearance may be a benefit. Some examples include repair for trauma scars, removal of large benign lesions, post-mastectomy breast reconstruction, etc. But not the kind of cosmetic surgery Nicole had. Patient M recently went to Turkey for several procedures, including dental work, hair transplant, and a tummy tuck, knowing insurance would not cover any mishaps. On his flight back, he developed fluid buildup in his abdomen. It took 3 procedures over 2 weeks to clear it. But despite the complications, he's happy, saying, the estimated cost savings compared to having the same procedures done in Canada were significant, likely close to $60,000 to $75,000 for all the procedures. Both M and Nicole say mishaps do happen, even in Canada. Nicole looked into suing the Costa Rican clinic, but was told the time and expense for an overseas case would not be worth it. The clinic promised a refund of the $20,000 she spent on the surgery, but she has yet to see a cent. The loss of her fingers and toes would make running her resort business up north too difficult, so she's planning to sell it. And her family has set up a GoFundMe to help with expenses in the meantime.
I try to do some of my makeup and my hair with my niece, but, you know, I'm trying to do things for myself, but it's going to definitely be a forever process.
Grigorov says looking back at her ordeal, the cosmetic surgery seemed so unnecessary now, but she wants to tell her story to make sure others are informed.
Any surgery is a risk, and I really didn't have to have a mummy makeover, and I know that. I just wanted to look better and feel better about myself.
Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Is it better that he ends up with a $70 fine, or is it better that he ends up with a $700 plus bill at the mechanic at the end of the day? That's for him to decide.
Tonight, 2 months without speed cameras and drivers are allegedly back to old habits. Details right after this. Today marks 2 months since photo radar was shut down across the province, and in Ottawa, new numbers suggest fewer motorists are pumping the brakes. Here's CTV's Tyler Fleming.
The cameras are gone, and it seems so is much of the slowing down.
When the province introduced this camera idea, they said it was all supported by data. So where's the data to suggest that it needs to be taken down now?
Back in October, Giovanni Carlucci told CTV News Ottawa photo radar should stay in front of schools.
We do prioritize the safety of our children.
His opinion hasn't changed, but Carlucci says enforcement alone was never the answer. He's long argued that drivers slow for cameras then speed up again, making traffic calming key around schools.
If you get somebody who's driving a rickety car down the street and they hit a speed bump, right? That guy hits a speed bump, what happens? Is it better that he ends up with a $70 fine, or is it better that he ends up with a $700 plus bill at the mechanic at the end of the day? That's for him to decide.
And along Cambrian Road in Barrhaven is a perfect example.
And when summertime comes out, they'll be racing again.
Now, 2 months after the province banned speed cameras.
Well, as you can see, it is so driving so fast.
The city continues to track speeds in these zones. Now, back when the cameras were on, nearly 9 out of 10 drivers complied. 3 weeks after the cameras shut off, that dropped to half.
So now we deal with reality of having more policing. They're going to be very aggressive to ensure, especially in front of schools, that people adhere to the speed limit or you're getting a ticket. There's not going to be a whole series of warnings. Again, you're going to face big fines and penalties because we want to keep our pedestrians and our children safe.
While the province promises big signs and flashing lights, the cost remains unclear.
Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be successful in slowing people down, and we have to look at other measures to be able to control traffic.
Without a proven fix, Carlucci says it's time for drivers to answer one simple question.
Why are you speeding in a school zone?
Tyler Fleming, CTV News.
Ottawa Jazz Festival has announced the first wave of headliners. Hollywood star Jeff Goldblum and the Mildred Snitzer Orchestra will be one of the main performers. The jazz band released its first studio album in 2018. Willow Smith, The Dip, and the Soul Rebels are other headliners. The festival will take place from June 19th to the 28th at Confederation Park. Tickets go on sale tomorrow morning at 10.
What's really exciting over at Snowflake Kingdom is we're actually going to be including this year a great big giant Ferris wheel.
Also, Canadian Heritage announced the lineup and programming for Winterlude today. The Winter Festival will be returning to Confederation Park for the first time since 2018. This year, that's where you'll find the ice sculptures instead of Sparks Street. Snowflake Kingdom will be back at Jacques Cartier Park in Gatineau. When we return, community hero to the rescue. More on the man stepping up to make sure an Ottawa neighborhood can still have its outdoor rink.
The National Capital Region is jam-packed with incredible experiences you don't want to miss. Hey, I'm Sanaya Taylor, your iHeartRadio Weekender, powered by Barrhaven Ford. Get the inside scoop on all the biggest and best events every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on CTV, Move 100, Pure Country 94, TSN 1200, and News Talk 580 CFRA. iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barrhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford dealership, and Ontario's #1 Ford EV dealer.
Here's another live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. You can see that the camera's shaking, indicating how windy it is out there. The temperature -6, with the wind chill feeling more like -14. Back to Jackie now with a final look at the forecast.
Well, with the rains we saw today, we saw a lot of snow melting through, but a different story for tomorrow morning. These puddles could lead to some slippery conditions. -10 to start things off, and don't be surprised to wake up to some flurries and heavy snowfall as you make your way out. So plan accordingly and drive safely. Daytime high -9 degrees, but again, we anticipate an additional 10 to 15 centimeters of snow. This will take us into our Thursday evening, but Friday we'll get a little bit of a break. We'll might give you time to shovel your driveways. Stay safe and stay dry out there.
Thanks, Jackie. Finally for us tonight, an outdoor rink in Ottawa's Herongate neighborhood almost didn't happen this winter, but after the area councillor put out a call for help, Will Davey is stepping up and volunteering to save the day.
I want to see the kids out having fun, not getting into trouble.
Here he is getting the ice ready tonight at a free public rink in the Herongate community on Sandalwood. The city's community rinks depend on volunteers donating thousands of hours every year, and if you can, more help is certainly needed. That is CTV News for this Wednesday, January 14th. CTV News continues online anytime with our digital team keeping you up to date at ctvnewsottawa.ca. You can also watch our newscast live on the CTV News app, and for news on the go, listen to News Talk Radio 580 CFRA. For all of us here at CTV News, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful night. Stay safe.